Today is Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 41, Week 6.
This episode's titled Ready to Play Like a Lion. That's spoken by Erika, the little lioness.
Okay. Your USB lioness?
Yes.
Okay.
Get ready for the Erika roller coaster. It's going to be fun. Night 11, when the episode kicks off, they're fresh back from Tribal Council. Shan and Ricard return, and Shan says, and then there were two.
And continued their argument from before Tribal.
It did extend, didn't it?
It did. They did not see eye to eye on that.
Nope. Ricard was doing some small talk to begin with, talking about how Jeannie seemed shocked and didn't realize, never knew that there was another idol, that the idol had been taken, basically.
Well, and she told him, well, sure, I told her I was with her, just like you did, but she didn't believe you. But anyway, Shan did give us the information that Jeannie never knew she had the idol. Why Jeannie didn't go get it, or at least look for it, I still don't understand. They did an
excellent job conning her with that Ricard set up.
I guess.
We're just going to say this even though we don't have it, just to test to see what's going on.
Shan probably told her, we don't want Ricard to get nervous, so nobody get it, because you and I are going to vote him out.
But yeah, then they're fresh back into that argument about that extra vote, and we find out that Shan had come to him just 5 minutes before they headed out to Tribal Council to try to get it back. So it was a classic negotiation technique, which is to put a time pressure.
But she didn't have much more time than that, did she?
I don't know.
Was she back? We don't know how long she was even back.
It did seem like she had plenty of time. We commented on that. It seemed very different than when Evvie got back with only
10 minutes, she told us.
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes before they had to head out. But it did seem like Shan had a great deal more time than that.
And then they argue about, Shan goes off on him about, hey, I was the one at risk. You weren't at risk.
And then I saved you
I
here.
Did this,
and I saved you here. And I saved you here.
So she saved that till everybody else was gone.
Mm-hmm.
But because they all heard him talking about how he just feeds her ideas
and
she executes them. So maybe that kind of wore her down a little bit too.
Both of them are rattled. Yeah.
I'd say neither one trusts the other.
Mm-hmm. Okay, over to Ua on...
Well, we skipped the next morning.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, next morning.
They came back at it again.
Yeah.
The sleep did not help it.
Got to resolve it. And this is when he said he'd give it back, too.
But they kept arguing until it was in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
So
she said that she was asking one last time, will you give it back? To which he replies, do you want it? Okay, I think Ricard's just winding her up at that point.
Wow, yeah, and he's not going to get any.
He had some valid points.
He still thinks it's questionable.
Her approach, yeah. But we do see Ricard give it back to her.
Yeah, but the bottom line is no, they don't fully trust each other either, so.
Well, she said ish. Trust him ish. Trust-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now,
Day
12.
Day 12.
Okay. Tree mail.
Yep.
And it sounds like a merge.
But what stood out, and even they were picking up on it a little bit, is it didn't say merge.
Yeah. It said, but we're going to have some fun first. Bring all your stuff.
Xander's thinking they're a close four, but Liana's got another story.
Well, but she thinks he completely trusts her.
Mm-hmm.
And we know he doesn't because he didn't want to tell her all of his information. He doesn't know the other story.
We're indeed privy to more. That's true.
Yeah, and so, Not so much, Liana.
Setting up a showdown, no doubt. Luvu.
Luvu. Day 12. Bring all your personal items, etc.
Danny says it sounds like a merge. Everybody's being cautious. They realize it didn't fully commit.
Well, and Sydney says, well, we don't really have a solidified alliance because we hadn't been to tribal.
To
so
which
we don't really know.
Naseer responds, right here, we got our final six.
I'm all in. We're right here. Here we are.
Danny says, look, we're a fractured mess, but maybe we can...
Deshawn.
Deshawn, yeah. But maybe we can hold together for one vote. He was hoping for two,
He's just hoping.
He'd be happy for one.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's going to happen now, but okay.
Time for Probst to break that fourth wall as we see them walking into the challenge, and he tells
us
yep,
there's going to be no tribal council and nobody's going home. So we're like, what?
And the exile's going to lead to a historic amount of power. So, okay, you've totally piqued our interest.
Okay.
We're definitely paying attention from here on out.
So everybody comes in, and of course he does his thing to make them think he's going to say it's the merge.
Mm-hmm.
Drop your buffs. And then he does his meh, which we saw
Not
last
exactly.
week.
Yep.
Not exactly. I think it was Tiffany that oh, no.
Yeah, you got some good reactions from each of them.
Well, I'm sure they've been anticipating a merge feast, certainly hoping for one.
Yeah, that had to be a shocker to find out that they were going to be without a buff, without any tribe, until they resolve this. They're going to split up into two teams.
Yep, they draw for teams, and then they're going to play against each other.
Yep.
And the winner will get their buffs. They will be merged. And they also get food. The losers, however, don't.
Well, they do. They just get some rice.
Yeah, but he doesn't tell them that.
The really big twist, though, is that two people they're going to draw rocks, and two of them are going to be gray, and then the winning team's going to decide the fate of the two gray rock holders.
Oh, and the winners will be safe at the next tribal council.
Yep, they've got immunity.
And they don't have to compete in the individual immunity challenge.
Right.
So, boy, I'm sure they're flying high right now.
Well, no one's flying high right now because nothing's been resolved.
No, but...
Yep.
Okay.
So we cut out to commercial on that and come back, and it's time to draw rocks to see who's going to end up with the two gray ones.
It happens to be two people on Luvu.
Yeah, Naseer and Erika.
And they drew last, so the other people did very good at avoiding those gray rocks.
At the bottom of the bag? Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I probably would have dug to the bottom.
So on the yellow team, we've got Xander, Heather, Liana, and Tiffany.
And Shan.
That does not look like a physically capable tribe or team.
No, at that point we went, uh-oh.
Yeah, in blue, we got Danny, Deshawn, Ricard, Evvie, and Sydney. Yeah, they definitely look like they had the physical advantage, and Probst even comments to that fact.
It's like, well, 4 guys on their tribe to 1 guy on the other, and they got a great big heavy rock to push.
Yeah, so the big round ball, he calls it a boulder or whatever, but they've got to dig those up and roll them through an obstacle course, which involves changing sides at the very beginning from
Didn't they roll over
right
the
to
barrels?
left and left to right. Yeah, I think that was part of it. Yeah, and then or there were some colored logs there that they rolled over, and they basically had to cross over.
Those were barrels.
And then, okay, whatever. And then it's all about who can get that out first. And it looked like they both had it pretty much figured out. You really need to focus your digging on the front and then the sides. Maybe you need a little bit in the back to get a foothold, but really you need to be able to build that ramp to roll it out the front. Yellow tries early on and fails, but then blue, their first attempt is successful. And then as it's going through the course, you got to climb up on top of it to release the keys, and the keys will release puzzle pieces, and you got to do a puzzle at the end.
For the blue tribe, and
Yeah.
I think it was
Shan for yellow.
Shan. I thought
Shan got up on top and recovered the keys for the yellow
yeah,
team.
yeah. I was thinking Sydney, but it was Shan. She's not on that tribe. So. Okay. Actually, I think Yellow Tribe did pretty good for the people that they had.
All things considered, yes, they put together a really good effort. Now, Blue blew right through the challenge. They did really good, and just as expected, they did not struggle anywhere near as much as the yellow
But there
team.
was a puzzle equalizer at the end. That was the thing.
Yep.
But they didn't have their puzzle girl.
No, Erika was not available, and surprisingly, Deshawn didn't go up to solve the puzzle, and ended up being Danny and Ricard for Blue.
Yeah.
And then when Yellow got there, it ended up being Xander, who we had heard in the Voce interview was good at puzzles for the previous Yellow Tribe, and then Liana. And it seemed like they had
the right away.
You hear Shan
said merge
it.
feast.
Now I don't know if that's because she heard it from the blue team and she was passing it along, because she said girls merge feast, like she was talking to Tiffany standing there beside her and Heather.
Well, they were probably trying to figure it out like everybody else to help, come up with what it could be.
And Probst was talking them up like they were making a big come from behind win. But
no, they
when
weren't.
we looked
they
at
didn't
it,
have any of the correct.
They seemed to get very confused.
Yeah, the correct letters were not at the right side.
And we even see Xander asking right towards the end there, is it merge feast? Like he wasn't clear for some reason, even though we'd previously, maybe he didn't hear because of the excitement in the moment. He didn't hear Shan say that.
As with us, sometimes you're thinking so hard you don't hear what other
That's
people
true.
are saying.
Yep. So Blue wins.
Which was no big surprise, even with the puzzle, because they had a fair lead. Mm-hmm. Though I have to say, poor Xander. Annie had to do the puzzle. He had to lift those girls, every one of them, up there, and then run and jump up there himself. I was thinking, that's too much.
That's a lot.
For one.
That's a lot.
One guy.
He does end up commenting on it a little bit afterwards, too.
Yeah, I'm sure he felt pretty beat up and banged up. And those girls climbing up him like that.
What did you think about their choice, the blue team's choice, to add Naseer to the Naseer to the feast and send Erika to Exile?
Well, it's what I expected. The only reason I thought they might not is if they felt bad about sending her, a tiny little Erika out more there, and knowing that it would not be a big deal for Naseer at all.
Yeah.
To go out there and be by himself and survive just fine.
That's why it's an even clearer message for her.
I think so. And I mean, it was obviously, unless they didn't show it, they did not show us that they did any rock, paper, scissors.
No.
So what we saw, there was no such thing that happened.
So we find out she's going to have to be out there for 2 days and 2 nights. It says she's not going to get any food. There's no shelter. She's exiled.
But they do give her a little rice.
They do end up giving her something, yeah.
Well, I think what they basically said is she wouldn't get she would not get the full meal.
Naseer wasted no time joining the blue team.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, he was hooting and hollering and celebrating.
He wanted to eat.
Yep. And we find out that Yellow's headed to Luvu Beach, which is going to be the merge beach, and that they're going to get a little bit of rice there.
Thank goodness.
And after both the blue and the yellow teams are gone, Probst takes a minute to talk to Erika, and she says that she pretty much knew she was on the bottom. She never really expected it, which you got to think you might say to save face a little bit.
You might say that just because you're feeling poor me right now, too.
Yes.
But I'm not sure that they couldn't talk her back around if they made an effort to.
Possibly.
I really do. I kind of thought, well, it crossed my mind, but doesn't it cross everyone's mind when you're in the game that could be the case?
She tells us that being alone on an island like that was her nightmare scenario.
And she survived it. Look at her. She's got to feel great about herself that she got fire right away. All of that was awesome.
So we're headed over to the Winter's Merge Feast.
Sanctuary.
Quite a bounty there.
Everybody's mighty happy over there. Danny says this game's the hardest thing he's ever done. I don't imagine he's gone without food much. You know, being a football player,
most
those
people
guys
haven't.
eat.
Yeah. Well, sure, he's very fit, so he has a pretty high caloric requirement just to maintain. But Evvie says they hadn't eaten in the last 3 days.
Yeah, anything at all.
And Naseer is just happy to be there. Thanks for picking me, he announces. And then Evvie...
Were you surprised that Danny said to Evvie about, hey, you guys were voting off all the men over there, making us nervous?
She was ready, though. She said, yeah, we thought you might worry about that, but...
But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're not doing that, especially sitting there with most of the men.
Okay, out to Exile Island there. It's still day 12 with Erika, and she says, welcome to my tropical vacation resort. She seems like she's in good spirits there, even though this is what she later refers to as her double nightmare.
Well, she's not really alone because there's a camera on her.
I like that she was given like the Airbnb Yelp review. It's a little bit of a DIY. That was good. So she finds out she's got some rice. She's got water. She's got a pail there to boil the rice in. And she admits she's the least equipped for being out there. And then we get a backstory on her, how her parents had come over from the Philippines to Canada to try to give their family a better life. And they've worked hard and wasn't able to be there for them. But in a way, all of that hardship and work had prepped her, the sacrifices they had made for being able to face these kinds of challenges and adversities. She was
conscious of growing up being different from other people.
Yep, she was used to a hard path in life. And so she saw this as a love letter to her parents, a way to acknowledge that. And that's when she also gave the title that she was going to come roaring back, ready to play like a lion.
She was going to come back feeling like a lamb, but she was ready to play like a lion. That was the title for this week. We wondered who was going to say that. Last week
we knew that she had said that before, so yeah, it was a good guess.
We did. I did.
About the lion, the lamb and the lion. We actually had this same conversation before the episode started.
No, I heard you say something. But I was
so it
busy.
Wasn't a conversation.
No, I was busy cooking and mopping and doing stuff. And you were talking about something, but I wasn't paying much attention.
Okay.
About then, because you were like, it's almost time. Why are you doing that now?
Let's go to Luvu Beach there with the Yellow Tribe after the challenge. And Xander's telling us he is battered and bruised. And he's in Mergatory, or Mergatory. I forget exactly how he said it, but that was good.
He said it different,
I like that.
But I liked it.
Yeah. And then we see Shan blow Liana's secret to Tiffany.
Goodness. Why would she do...
She wasn't thinking at all.
Obviously.
She's not always on her game.
That was not a smart move.
Or she didn't care.
In front of Tiffany.
I got to think that she would care a little.
She probably thought since Tiffany walked off with them, oh, that must mean that she's Liana's +1.
I'm sure she would have had an excuse.
But why would you assume that?
If Liana had challenged her about it, but it seems like that isn't to be the
well,
case
she
right
looked
now.
like a deer in the headlights.
She
I
looked
thought
supremely
it was
guilty.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Very awkward.
Tiffany handled it well, and she just basically said, yeah, I knew you had something.
I knew you had something. I did.
And I wasn't worried.
Blah, blah, blah. And I thought, yeah, right.
Okay, so she explains to Shan that she got the knowledge is power advantage and how she can take an idol or an advantage away from someone at tribal council.
But then she and Tiffany walk off, and Tiffany asks her outright, okay, so tell me, what is this advantage? And she's like, oh, shoot, I was hoping she wouldn't do that. But, of course, she did. So Liana shares, and she tells, I wouldn't tell Evvie or Xander. No problem.
Yeah, she's covering, but that trust has been weakened.
Yeah. Well, and it gives Liana a reason to want to vote Tiffany out. Mm-hmm. And it gives Tiffany a reason to want to vote Liana out.
Yeah.
And even Shan.
So Shan basically created a crack right there.
Yep.
To help pull Liana into her more. Maybe that's what she was angling for.
Yeah, maybe.
It worked.
It did.
Yeah, because she had said she wanted to work with Liana. She re-emphasized that after they spoke. So, what better way than to cut her off from her previous alliance and start to bring her in?
I thought Tiffany made a good show of, oh no, that's exactly what you should have done. But she, in her confessional, said she lied to me.
She's leery now. Good reason.
So she's
The
not sure she
blue
can
team
have her
returns to the Luvu beach, and Evvie said it wasn't awkward. They just got welcomed in, and
yeah, you would wonder
everyone
if they're
was
going to
meeting
be all
everyone.
resentful because we got food, but
well, you can smell it on them too when they come in.
Yeah. Kiss of death, well, and the alcohol too.
Yeah, the
you
beer,
could smell
yeah.
the beer and all. And
I like Naseer gave Xander a compliment on how good he was in the challenges. That was exactly the way to win Xander over.
yep, and Xander's like, hey, they're coming for us.
Yep.
Us strong people, we need to stick together. But Naseer tells him, he offers
you,
it
bro.
right up. I got your
you.
back.
Yep.
He said, and I mean it. I got your back. I thought, I wonder if he really meant it. Or not.
And then we see later where Danny and Naseer and Xander were talking, and they're pretty much settled on voting Erika out.
Were you surprised to see Evvie, Sydney, and Tiffany?
To see them talking together?
Yeah.
No. You think you're mentioning that because Sydney said she was leery of Tiffany when they met on the beach at night?
Yeah. But I think Tiffany doing what she did and not going after the advantage maybe made a difference in trust. Besides, why wouldn't you just say yes to everyone at this point?
Yeah, exactly. So no, I wasn't particularly surprised to see them talking together, and they pretty much had the same plan. Let's just take the path of least resistance and get rid of Erika.
Well, I imagine if she's not trusting Liana as much, that she's going to want to pull in some of the other people.
Some people are a little cautious, though. Shan was cautious, and I think it was Sydney, too, was talking about she might come back with something.
Oh, yeah. Sydney absolutely was.
Shan was, too.
Was it Shan? I didn't
so.
think it was Shan. I thought it was Liana, maybe. Anyway, I don't remember. But I liked it when Shan and Liana were talking to Danny and Deshawn.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
Shades of Big Brother's Cookout Alliance.
Yep, could
Except
be.
it doesn't, it's not at a point where it's as mature or as solid a plan.
Well, it just started.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good core four to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good to me, especially since Deshawn is my USB. Though I almost kind of like Danny better, but I'm going to stay with Deshawn, I think. But anyway, they seemed very receptive, so I believe that they were all sincere.
Uh-huh.
Because I was doubting a whole lot of everybody talking to everybody, but they seemed sincere. And I thought, oh, okay.
Possibly. I'm of the mind that you can never trust anything
Not
Shan says.
100%. Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
But like Shan says, let's let those easy votes roll for now, and then
That's a good plan.
we'll spring our trap later. Deshawn's thrilled. He's excited. He's talking about how they're going to bust it open, huh?
Well, I'm cheering for that as well.
Well, the person I'm cheering for is up next. It's Exile Island Day 13, which means we're at the halfway point.
Here comes Jeff. I could tell that was Jeff. I thought, that's got to be Jeff.
And the first thing I noticed was that Erika had fire still, so that was awesome. She was able to get it when she was out there, and she kept it going through the night, so good on her.
Well, yeah, and that she felt like that was the only thing that kept her going, that otherwise she would have just curled up my ball and she didn't have the fire.
And we know why that's important, because fire represents life.
So,
Yeah.
no, I don't think that's why that was important.
Uh-huh. It's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
The lioness.
Yes, uh-huh.
Probst is impressed.
Well,
He's
he
making
is,
a
and
house
I'm
call.
impressed too, but
Yep.
that's not why she needed to keep it going.
As someone who's done that, who's been solo and then was able to make the fire and have the fire with them through the night, several nights. I could tell you, it is a gigantic comfort. I can absolutely 100%
Well,
from firsthand experience.
That's what I mean.
Confirm.
It was more comfort than anything else.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it was.
okay.
I was in the desert. It was warm. I didn't really need it, but it sure was nice to have. It definitely made a difference in your mental outlook.
She's telling Jeff she feels like she got left behind, and that she has so much catching up to do. 'Cause they're all back there getting to know each other.
Yep. So much of the game's passing her by.
Until Jeff says, "But they gave you tremendous power." Then her attitude changed a lot. It's like, ooh.
So what did you think? He's going to give her potentially the ability to go back in time, undo, completely reverse, rather, the win.
I personally would have preferred that not to happen, but I think she would be absolutely nuts not to go for it.
So it's basically flip-flop. Take the blue team, make them all vulnerable, which I'm assuming will include Naseer.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Since he got to participate.
No, he's a part of that.
Was included in.
Jeff said 6.
In blue, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
He's included.
And then the yellow team.
Yikes.
Would gain full immunity for the next
Yep.
tribal council.
Just the opposite. So.
Don't have to worry about competing in the
Man, I
immunity
didn't like
challenge.
that at all.
No?
Oh.
Because you were all set for Erika to go.
Deshawn's over there, too, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We're definitely on opposite sides of this one because
I really don't want to see Danny, Deshawn, or Naseer go home.
I had Danny as the one that was going to go. I thought that they could refocus on him just in a classic way.
You know what you put. However, I'm fine if Ricard goes.
He was selling it awfully hard, wasn't he? You have an opportunity to change history and make history.
He's trying to influence her.
Hint, hint.
You need to do
Bust
this
the hourglass.
for the game of Survivor.
Reverse time.
And I said, oh, and that flat rock just happened to be there.
Worked perfect.
I thought, you said Jeff might have brought that in his bag.
Perhaps, yeah.
But
he pulls out this great big hammer. So basically she can crack the hourglass and it'll reverse time and flip everything, and she would be
outcome of the challenge.
She would be immune. She would then be on the yellow team and immune.
Why wouldn't you do it? And who could really blame you for that? For looking out for yourself.
Now what the blue team folks are going to tell her is that, well, we would have protected you. We would have saved you. You were going to be fine. Why did you do this to us?
Sure.
And I would say, you know what? I followed your example. I basically made a coin.
Oh, yeah.
I flipped it, and it came up yellow.
It came up, yeah.
And, just like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
I'd be just as honest as they were.
True. But no, that's
I'm with you.
Inflammatory. But I wouldn't actually say that. But
what about flipping the coin? I would.
I didn't know. Everybody was back there getting to know each other, and I felt and I had to protect myself.
I needed a
at
chance.
Least right away.
I needed to give myself a chance.
And you guys,
how can you hold that against me?
They can't. Nobody could.
Oh, they will.
Well, they will, but
they absolutely will. So I'm gonna be completely stunned and shocked if she does not flip the script. If she doesn't break that hourglass,
that would be nuts.
I would think, well, then you absolutely should be voted out. I don't think it's gonna win you anything.
Yeah, no, I think they will vote her out if they were already talking about voting you out, honey.
You can't play, and she doesn't know that for sure, but you can't play, you can't try to always be playing the long game.
No.
And if you
just got to stay in long enough to get to the next.
You've gotten every indicator you need to know that you're on the outs.
She just needs some time to get to know people, set up alliances.
She has to do it.
She's got to do it.
Has to do it.
So anyway, Jeff tells her she has till the next morning when she's getting ready to leave. She can smash it or not, and voila.
Yeah.
So I just.
So what did you think about the episode as it played out? We got a little bit pre partial merge, and now the merge is going to extend over 2 episodes. No one left in this episode.
Well,
We've got all
partial
these
merge,
things.
but they really merged. But
they didn't.
they
Xander told you clearly he was in Mergatory, and that's not the same thing.
Yes, I know, and we could argue that all night. We agree to disagree. Blah blah. So
Okay.
they're still together in one camp.
That doesn't mean anything.
Technically,
They were
doesn't
together
mean
in one
merge,
camp in
but
Thailand.
still, they're together. Yes, I know that. I was actually there watching beside you. So,
Just trying to help you see that.
yeah, no.
You're wrong.
Don't try to help me see that I'm wrong. I am fine with agreeing to disagree.
Okay.
I see that it's a merge without a merge. And it's half a merge, and they're probably going to undo that part of the merge.
Yes.
But then the others will be merged,
Stretching
and
it out.
Xander won't be. And
So less time for the whole season and more time for the merge to happen. Interesting. Interesting.
I guess what shocked me the most was that nobody was going home this week. I'm like, what?
Yeah, with less total
Nobody?
time. Well,
Yeah.
does that mean we're going to get a double in the next episode?
don't
Seems
know.
likely, right?
Well,
Because
you can't have half the people and 2 of them go home.
why not?
'Cause
It
I
would be
said
the
so.
it would
That's
be the
not
same
right.
as one now and one
'Cause
next
my
time.
USB's probably going to be in that mix.
We're at the core of the
Exactly.
crux of the
So
challenge
no,
here.
I'm not even going to visit that idea.
I think
So,
it's the most
shut up.
logical answer.
No, not
No,
necessarily.
he's not being
necessarily.
targeted.
Not. They'll wait till later on and do another double, and that'll be fine.
I don't know. Let's go to next time on
And we
Survivor. There's not
can't,
anything.
no.
There's almost nothing to discuss other than
No.
they're clearly at that challenge, the individual immunity challenge that the blue team thinks they're not going to have to compete in. The yellow team thinks they are going to have to compete in, and they're all thinking, I just wish Xander wasn't in this so that he wouldn't win individual immunity right out of the gate, and then us have to vote
Well,
someone
he
out.
probably thinks he's sitting pretty, but he'll still be sitting pretty. He'll still have an idol, and he won't have to compete if she smashes
And
the hourglass.
And then Erika's there, and she explains what Probst told her, that she got this opportunity, and we're going to find out what she
Jeff's
chose.
like, "So what
My
did
point
you
is, that's
choose?"
probably at the very beginning of the next episode.
Probably. Well, they can't really
that's
do
why
it.
there's very likely going to be a double in the next episode, double elimination. Because this will all happen in the beginning. And then boom, you'll have the pre-tribal, they'll go to tribal,
Shut
and then it'll begin
up.
again. No? Okay.
No, I didn't
could
say
s-
no. I just said I don't want to
You don't
hear
want to
that.
think about that? It makes things
No.
too complicated?
Yeah.
We are in agreement on we think she is absolutely going to bust the hourglass.
Yes, we are in agreement on that.
Okay.
And if she doesn't, then I think she should go home.
I agree with that
she's
part
not
too.
playing if she's
She's
not.
not
good.
playing to stay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hello, you're heading into the part of the game that's an individual game.
Well, you didn't have enough of
To
a
a
social
degree.
game to end up in Naseer's place. So that tells you your social game isn't strong. So do what you need to do to protect yourself.
She was just unlucky because she drew the gray walk.
Anything
Get
else you want to
somebody
say
else
about
in her tribe.
the episode, or
I just don't know what to think. And now you have me extremely concerned about 2 tribals next week. That's upsetting.
I don't know why that's upsetting. Just because you hadn't had time to think about it.
I don't know. I
Change
haven't
is
had time
hard,
to think
isn't
about
it?
It is for me. Like, I hate change. Well, not in all things, but.
And
you know.
I didn't spring that on you before we sat down to do the
you
recap.
Didn't. You didn't even give me a second to think about it.
I hadn't really
but-
considered it. That was just in the moment.
Well,
It's like,
they,
oh yeah,
they
it looks like it'll be a double.
They could still do.
They could stretch it out.
Yeah, they could do some camp stuff and
It's
people.
more of the social
But yeah,
insight
more of
that
the
we love.
social interaction, and
Doubt
then
it.
come in midway and then have the challenge.
Close up.
And
Yeah, this
then
is or
do
catch
the
up rather.
tribal.
They're basically going to
It
do a
could
catch
still
up and
just be a one.
eliminate 2.
So I'm going for the onesie. Unless we get other indications.
So there's not a whole lot to say about JSFL.
No, because
There was no vote out, so you can't get a vote out point.
Nope, no one does. Though we do intend to give anybody who had 4 people safe that's still in the game, you should get your 4 points.
Right.
Unless you didn't make your picks and
They
it
didn't
rolled
get voted
over
out.
and somebody was gone.
They're safe.
Whatever. So,
Yeah.
but other than that, Steve has the website ready to roll over to accept
USB changes.
USB changes
If your USB was voted
for
out.
next week.
Or
However, as Jeff would say, we've been
Not
talking
exactly.
about it, so we have to talk some more to Steve about maybe extending that out for the next couple of weeks.
yeah,
so,
since it's extended across 2 episodes, we're probably going to push that out. So,
yeah, a little bit.
So you'll have extra time to make that decision.
We will announce that
stew on
on
it.
Saturday.
Get some clarity, yeah. And
Yeah.
then, because it's a special situation,
Yeah.
we'll have to have him run the
And
score
the-
update.
Yeah, the website won't be updated right away because Steve has an obligation on Wednesday nights, and so he should have it done at least by tomorrow. So, and we'll discuss that with him then. Make an announcement on Saturday.
All right, anything else we need to say?
I don't think so. We have stuff to look at.
We have stuff to look at?
Yeah, we have to look at. We've already watched it basically twice.
Yes, we have.
But-
Well, we wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything, so.
I know. Well, it was pretty hectic. It's like, what?
Okay, that's our recap, and we're still obviously noodling on what happened, and it's going to extend into another episode. So they were correct. It is something that they haven't done before, the way
Yeah.
it all played out, and we're just rolling with that.
I
But
couldn't imagine what that was going to be myself. I just thought, what haven't they done?
we will be doing a listener feedback show on Saturday, and that's when we turn it over to you, the other super fans. We've taken care of the recap. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what choice do you think Erika's going to make, how things playing out, what do you see in terms of new alliances, how's this post-merge world going to look like, and what's the blowback going to be?
You were going to add a question. You said something in the listener
Oh yeah, with
feedback.
Jade. Thank you. Jade and Christine had asked what people did for their Wednesday ritual. They were talking
Oh,
about how
okay.
they made a point of getting takeout, and so that they could focus on the show, and they had a sort of a timeline and how they just had a good time with some good food and watched the show and then talked about it afterwards. So, and they were wondering what other people's I was going to say Wednesday ritual, but not everybody watches on Wednesday. So whatever your Survivor watching ritual may be, do you get takeout, or, how do you watch?
How do you watch Survivor?
Yeah.
What do you do beforehand? What's...
That's it. That'll be a good talking point too, because it's just going to be a lot of speculation on what's Erika going to do, and how much did the discussion between Shan and Ricard damage their alliance? What do you think about the People of Color alliance? How that's coming together? Are they going to be as strong as the Cookout alliance? What's the future hold there?
Well, and now everybody knows it takes both our brains to remember something.
Yeah, if that wasn't already
Because I
clear.
couldn't remember what it was that we were supposed to remember, but
Yeah, I like that question. And I liked hearing about Jade and Christine's and Jill from the Outback. I liked hearing their what they did, and in terms of watching. She said she had a junk food party, basically. Got her soda and some junk food and enjoyed that treat, just like Survivor was a treat.
yeah, this was wings night for Stacy. He loves wings.
Yes, I can eat me some wings. Speaking of which, I think there's probably some more in my immediate
I
future
know,
after we
yeah.
get done with this.
You had a snack
Yes.
while you were...
Yeah, only
Okay.
like 5 so far. So yeah, if you want to join us for the listener feedback show, you can call and leave a voicemail 206-350-1547 or toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and attach it, or just type up a quick message and send it in the email to joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays. And you guys have just been doing a fantastic job. We've been having killer listener feedback shows this season. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts about this one. Anything else?
Nope, we digress. Okay, good night, everybody.
Have a good one.